Wow, what a crazy 24 hours we are having. That's one of the exciting things about the offseason. The first couple of days, first week or so of free agency for either the NFL or the NBA. A lot of things are going on. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of All Things Sports. I'm your host, Kalani Lua. And man, oh man, oh man, OBJ leaving the Big Apple for Cleveland. Yay! But in hindsight, this actually might be a pretty good move overall for everyone involved. This gets the New York Giants a chance to say, okay, Odell, we love you, but we're going to move on now. And with this draft, now that we have 2 first-round draft picks, that gives us a chance to potentially draft a replacement quarterback for Eli Manning and now go after one of the top wide receivers in this draft. Potentially maybe go after 2 wide receivers in the early portions of this draft. Unfortunately, they still got to pay that salary. But they signed Odell Beckham last year. The general manager was saying, nah, we didn't sign him to trade him, but you paid him over $21 million for one season just so you could trade him. And you still have dead money on your salary cap. Jeez. So let me get this straight. You want to show loyalty, so to speak, to Eli Manning, and he's earned that after you sat him breaking his Iron Man streak of so many consecutive started games. For one game for Geno Smith, of all people, you caved into the backlash of the fans and you said, okay, we made a mistake. Eli's a legend. He's one of our all-time greats. Okay, got it. Put him back in there. Okay, cool. Now you got Odell Beckham, who, yes, does have some injury issues. I wouldn't necessarily say he's an injury-riddled player. He's had, I believe, 3 seasons where he's had to deal with some injuries. One in particular, you really can't help the fact that, hey, that's just how I got hit or tackled, so to speak. It's kind of like when Terrell Owens playing, I believe, for the Eagles. Yes, when he got the horse collar tackle, that's not me being an injury-prone player. That's just the nature of the beast and how I was pulled down. But Odell has put up numbers in both catching, receiving yards, and touchdowns ever since he stepped into the league. In fact, he missed 5 games his rookie year and still was one among the lead leaders in wide receiver categories. This guy is dynamite, fantastic. But now he goes to Cleveland. Teams up with his old teammate Jarvis Landry. And you know what? Cleveland now doesn't look like it's going to be called Clownland anymore. No, the Browns. Baker Mayfield showing that, you know what? This kid might got something. Some people think he's going to regress, but now you look at the weapons they're adding around him in Cleveland. You got Kareem Hunt, who they brought in. We'll see how long it is before he can step onto the field. But until he does, you do have Nick Chubb, who last year showed, man, this dude can really put up some numbers in the backfield. Those Georgia running backs, man. Those Georgia running backs. And then you also got Duke Johnson still on the team. You still got him there. So, okay, those are 2 good running backs to have for a change of pace until Kareem Hunt comes along. At tight end, you got David Njoku, who was really starting to find his own last season. Now you look forward and say, okay, that next step he should be taking going into this season should be even better. Now you add Odell Beckham Jr., you got Jarvis Landry, you got Higgins out there as well. You got Antonio Callaway at wide receiver, who was really having some pretty good moments last year. So that offense is looking pretty scary. It's looking pretty interesting. And then on the other side of the ball, you got Myles Garrett on one side and Olivia Vernon on the other side. Denzel Ward in the secondary. Ooh. Now you look at what the Browns can do for the draft, who they decide to add in, if they bring in anyone else. And you got to give it, the Browns are saying, you know what? We're going for it. And why not? What do you have to lose? You're an organization who is one of the worst ran organizations in the NFL for a number of years. All the quarterbacks you've gone through, and your starting quarterback right now is still on a rookie contract deal. Why not go for broke? Why not go out there and try to put pieces around them? A la what the Los Angeles Rams did. They had Jared Goff, got the new head coach, went out and said, we'll bring in Ndamukong Suh, we'll bring in Talib, we'll bring in Peters, we'll bring in Marcus Peters on the other side. Oh yeah, we're also going to go out, we'll bring in Brandon Cooks. They were even in the discussion for Odell Beckham last year, but didn't go through. Andrew Whitworth put on the line. Let's go for it. And look where they ended up, in the Super Bowl. Now granted, they lost, but at least they were there. If you have your so-called franchise quarterback on a rookie contract, why don't you go out there and make splashes all around the ball? Why don't you go out there and get receivers, tight ends, linemen, running backs, defensive players? Spend that money right then. sign them maybe to short year deals, or do what some of these other teams have done. Bring them on board just to get rid of them in a year or two. Why not? It's dead money, but apparently these teams have money just to throw around, so go for it. But in all honesty, go for it now before you really have to shell out the cash for your quarterback. And if you're an organization that does not have a tradition of winning, you're not the Patriots, you're not the Steelers, you're not in title contention, why not go for broke? Look, the way we've been doing it for a number of years has not worked. Let's try something different. The Cleveland Browns, you got to figure, they were going to get televised games because of Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, potentially Kareem Hunt when he comes back. You figure, okay, let's put a couple of their games on national television. You throw in Odell Beckham Jr. now, it is without question we're going to get some Browns games on national TV. And yes, I get it. The Browns, they've sucked. But they haven't had a roster like this in ever, really. I don't think they've had this much offensive firepower since they had Jim Brown back on their team. Yeah, look how far back we had to go. But you look at it now and say, that's some excitement. I'm excited to see the Browns play. I'm not jumping on a bandwagon. Got to stick with my Raiders. But I am excited to see this team play going forward and look forward to seeing what they can do. I already talked about my Raiders going after Antonio Brown. I would have preferred Odell Beckham Jr. just for age, and we are coming to Las Vegas. I believe he's more of a dynamic figure than Antonio Brown. But nonetheless, we got AB, so let's rock on with him. But then when you think that the Cleveland Browns are going to dominate the headlines and say, yep, we did everything. We got front page news. We're going to be on ESPN and Fox Sports. We're going to be the lead story. Not so fast. Not so fast. The New York Jets go ahead and bring in Le'Veon Bell, signing him to a deal. And some people feel that the contract he got with the Jets, 4 years, $52 million, that, he lost. That sitting out that year trying to gain more money, he actually missed out. Well, he is getting $30+ million guaranteed, which is a lot more than he was being offered for the 5-year, $70 million contract the Steelers gave him. I believe their guarantee was somewhere around the $10 to $15 million range as far as guaranteed money. So when you look at it, no, I'm actually getting more guaranteed money. So in a sense, I won. I believe people are saying that he lost due to the fact that Le'Veon probably thought his market would be a lot bigger. He probably would have cashed in a lot more. But you got to think, at the running back position, when you're 27 years old, it's hard to shell out that type of money for a running back. Even though Le'Veon Bell went out there and shown he's one of, if not the best running back in the NFL, can run inside, outside, can catch the ball out of the backfield, one of the most dynamic players in the game. But at 27 years old, it's a position that we've kind of seen that, all right, well, you're good, but how much do we really need a top-level running back? I mean, if you look at the Rams, as good as they were last year with Todd Gurley, they were still able to win some games, especially in the postseason, without Todd Gurley going crazy. Now, granted, maybe Todd Gurley was healthy and they utilized him more in the Super Bowl. Maybe they could have been the ones hoisting the trophy up at the end, but nonetheless, they still got there. So there is something to be said about that in a sense. But Le'Veon, I believe if he was like 24, 25, 23, he probably would have got the money that he wanted. But he is 27, but still in all, Gang Green, they go ahead and they add themselves a piece. They got Sam Darnold, they add in Le'Veon Bell, they bring in Jamison Crowder, a good slot receiver, another guy I wish my Raiders would have picked up, and they bring in C.J. Mosley. They were trying to bring in Anthony Barr, but he said, nope, I'm going to stay in Minnesota. And you got to wonder, was that the plan? Was it the plan to say, I'm going to sign with another team, get a good contract to put pressure on Minnesota to come at me with a better offer? Or was Minnesota just dragging their feet and thinking, he's not going to leave. He loves it here in Minnesota, damn near Canada. Who doesn't love being up here in the snow? We had Prince and the Timberwolves and the Twins. Well, Anthony Barr does like being up there. And look, he's getting paid. It's a system he already knows. He doesn't have to move his family. He doesn't have to sell his house. No, so it makes sense for him to go ahead and stay there. It's unfortunate. That would have been a good linebacking core to see how Mosley and Barr would have did together. But Barr's staying where he's at. Mosley now going to have to man the middle. The Jets now are looking like, okay, got the rookie quarterback, the linebacker, the slot receiver, the running back now. They even got Awesome and Lee from us at the left guard, paving the way for him to go out there and for Le'Veon Bell to run the ball. Okay, Jets, looking good, looking good. And again, you haven't won anything in a number of years. Why not go after it and try to say, look, we are tired of those damn Patriots always being at the top. We're tired of it. So go out there and try to make some moves on your own as well and see what you can do. Now, we just saw two of the top three wide receivers, Julio Jones in the conversation, but Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham get traded, swapped. And you got to think, okay, well, they didn't get traded for other top level wide receivers. So are wide receivers going to start being depreciated like the running back position? A little bit. Not so much, but a little bit. And the reason I say that is, can you guys honestly name me the last top wide receiver or running back to win a Super Bowl? Go ahead. I'll wait. It doesn't happen. Now, Marshawn Lynch did win the Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks, but if you look in that game, he had, I believe, 52, 53 yards rushing against the Denver Broncos. That game was a blowout, so he was really a non-factor for the team. The one touchdown he got was at the 1 yard line, so he wasn't as big of a factor in the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl as he was in them getting there. But Julio Jones with the Falcons, he made it to the Super Bowl. And the Patriots had the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Larry Fitzgerald helped the Cardinals get to the Super Bowl against the Steelers. That didn't work out so well, even though he gave a tremendous hustle chasing down James Harrison. Just couldn't get there fast enough. Almost. Now, if he was a little bit closer, maybe he could have stopped him, but couldn't stop him on that pick six for 100 yards. So when you look around the league and you say, okay, wait a minute. If I was to list the top 10 running backs and the top 10 wide receivers, how many of these guys got Super Bowl rings? Wait a minute. If I actually go through the history and look at it, how many of these guys have won Super Bowls, period? Wait. Jerry Rice has, but wait, he had a complete team with Joe Montana, Roger Craig, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, etc., etc. So if you're a team, you really got to look at it and say, well, as important as it is to have wide receivers, in a sense, wide receivers are kind of like running backs. I could find guys that fit into my system. You look at a team like the Patriots and what they are able to do, and not even just the Patriots, but look at what the Denver Broncos were able to do with Peyton Manning. Would any of us say Demaryius Thomas is still a top 10 wide receiver before and after Peyton Manning there? No. Emmanuel Sanders? No. Wes Welker, I mean, maybe at the time he was bottom 10, but I believe by the time he went to Denver, people wouldn't have had him in the top 10 as far as just, hey, top 10 wide receivers. Now, Wes Welker wasn't in the conversation, but you found guys whose skill set fit within the system. And that's no slight or disrespect to any of the guys I named or to any of the top wide receivers. But you got to look at, yes, the game is evolving. It's more spread. But even look at a team like the Los Angeles Rams. How many wide receivers do you name before you get to Robert Woods, to Cooper Kupp, to Brandon Cooks? Even though Brandon Cooks has had 3 back-to-back seasons of 1,000 yards, all with a different team each year, first in history to do that, how many wide receivers do you name before you get to him? Cooper Kupp might be one of the top slot wide receivers in the NFL, but he also got injured. And again, how many guys do you name before you get to him? So there is something to be said that, yes, the Giants and the Steelers getting rid of these guys, they're crazy. Are they really, though? Are they really? If you look at it from this sense, if you have a top wide receiver, you got to feed him. You got to give him the ball, right? Defenses know that. They're going to put the top corner over him. If that line up on that side of the ball, they're going to put the safety over him. They're going to double team. They're going to pay attention to him. But if you don't have that number 1 wide receiver, or at least the guy who is the mega superstar who everyone knows you're going to, now the defense have to figure out, well, who the hell are we throwing the ball to? Who do we got to defend? Who's going to be their guy? This week it's the slot guy. Next week it's the outside guy. Next week it's the other guy. Oh, wait, this week it's all 3 of them. This week it's 2 of them. So if you are more versatile in your options of who you're throwing the ball to, that actually could benefit your offense going forward. So I would just say don't count out the Giants and the Steelers just yet as far as tanking or getting rid of it. For the Giants, yes, it is a rebuild, but we got to see what they're able to grab in the draft. Maybe by doing so, it's actually going to open up a hole for them to say, you know what, we're getting some pretty good players for the future that can be productive for us. Just like with my Raiders. As much as I hate that we gave up Khalil Mack, that also gave us some cap space and another first-round draft pick to potentially grab another top-level player that could be as productive. Don't know if they'll be as good as he was, but we shall see, and that is the fun and beauty of the NFL offseason and the draft. Thank you guys for tuning in to another video of All Things Sports. I'm your host, Kalani Lua. Any comments, questions, or anything of that nature, go ahead and drop it in the comment box. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the page. Till next time, peace.